It's been a busy time at Man United in the last 48 hours. Just when you think we may have passed the baton to Liverpool to have their dramas and commotions and we can just watch in the background, Man United entered the chat and said, we ain't done. Our captain, Bruno Fernandes, has been talking up the things. Now, realistically, there's a lot of reaction to this, and a lot of what he said, he's told us this already in the summer. That's the first thing I'll say about this. He has said 98% of this in the summer, but he's talking now, which was in November apparently, saying that I want to stay here if I'm loved. And it's like, it's just another thing of like players just doing more talking consistently, more talking. His performances have been fine. Look at the goal he scored against Bournemouth, top bins. Everybody loves Bruno. All the fans love Bruno. All the players love Bruno. But he's going back to the summer where in his first press conference, he said, I spoke to the club and they said they didn't want to sell me, really. And Amrim said, definitely not. So it was kind of my decision. So I decided to stay because I love this club and I want to win stuff here, etc., etc. Only to fast forward now and be like, kind of didn't feel like they wanted me to stay. And it's like, we don't really need this right now. But the big boys, the big players, the captains get the big bucks. They get the extra say in it. They get the extra say, but the timing is just not what we need. What do you guys think about this situation? Is it much ado about nothing? Shout out Shakespeare. That is Shakespeare. Is it that? Is it that? Or is it another example of players just exercising their right to just have their platform and just keep speaking, which basically might not be helpful to what's going on? Let me know where you stand on it. I'm kind of in the middle, really, if I'm honest. Fence fleck, if you want to call it that. But let me know what you guys say. Bam. I just feel like this Bruno situation, I'm not going to lie, it just didn't need to be there. It just didn't need to be there. There's loads to get through. Of course, an extension of that interview. We didn't even get to talk yesterday. What got lost in translation, lost in the needle in a haystack, like Owen says, sifting for gold, is that Man United are up there, front and centre, trying to get Anton Semenyo alongside Manchester City, who may be favourites, but there's something to talk about there. And, of course, the back end of the Cobby situation as well. I wasn't on the show yesterday morning. Had my say with KG, but I think there's an extension to be had upon that. So just a little bit to get into, Owen.
Just a little bit to get into, indeed. I really did enjoy, actually, the shout out to William Shakespeare this morning.
Yeah, was I wrong though? Is much
you're right.
Enough?
You're right.
You're
right.
Yeah.
Just I was not expecting shout out Shakespeare.
Well, neither was I. But it was only when I said it, it clicked, and then all my GCSE bite size came through, and I was like, I think that's Shakespeare. Now's a good time to say it.
Shout out Shakespeare, and also Flex. Shout out Optimum. Yeah, get optimized.
Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA, and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings, and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover, and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. Two of our own, Owen, lost over 100 pounds in 10 months, and KG dropped 30 pounds in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost 35 pounds, and Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over 80 pounds. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost 44 pounds, and Linda, a law firm executive, lost over 50 pounds. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work.
Yes, let's get to work indeed. You can scan the QR code to subscribe and save up to 70% off your first order right there. The link's in the video description below. It's in the chat as well. It's pinned in the chat. You can get your Optimum Day, which is good for your weight loss goals right there. Ingredient view. You can get your Optimum Night, which is good for your restorative sleep. You can get them individually combined. Stack them any which way you please. As always, well, throw them in the air and, you know.
Sorry.
Dropping points like Manchester United, Flex. That's what you are. Unbelievable. As always, shout out to Oxford Natural by Gowan Life for bringing you this show this morning. Bruno Fernandes, Fleck. It was the last few days, as you mentioned, it's been a few days of bombshells, hasn't it? Indeed, for Manchester United with the Cobby stuff and now with the Bruno Fernandes stuff. So we saw sort of the first part of the interview that he did with Portuguese media yesterday, which you covered in your Flex's View. But last night, part 2 came out, and Bruno Fernandes said the following. He says, "I want to stay at Manchester United as long as I feel desired. I would like to experience the Spanish league and fight for big titles in Italy. I have my connections to Italy. My daughter was born there. I have already thought about returning to Portugal. The first option would be Sporting, to be happy like it was with Sporting, but I don't want to ruin the image that was left. But I don't want to drag myself there. I want to add to it and even try district football at an advanced stage. You play in the district for love. You feel different to have friends in the district." Now, it must be stressed. This isn't like Bruno's come out directly after the game against Bournemouth on Monday and done this interview. This was part of an interview that was conducted a few weeks ago. It was set up by the Portuguese national side. And for whatever reason, this outlet in Portugal have decided that we're going to release it now strategically after the Bournemouth game. And United did go on the offensive yesterday after all of this Bruno stuff came out, which is in addition to this that came out last night too. That they reiterated there's no desire to sell Bruno Fernandes. He is a part of the long-term plans. And like before, this is kind of what Rich Fay was mentioning here, a bit like last summer, you feel like if a big bid came in, they would probably have the same conversation that they had with him last summer, which is, yeah, we want you to stay. But also, if it's a lot of money, it's a lot of money. And you can go, basically, you can do what you want. But Bruno's complaint is, basically tell me what to do, as opposed to what I would like. Now, as far as a possible return to this Saudi situation that was presented in the summer, Carve interestingly said from Sky Sports yesterday that maybe that's not actually that guaranteed. He said Al Hilal, won't do the full Carve impression.
It'll take too long.
Al Hilal are not guaranteed to make another move for Bruno Fernandes next summer, especially because the club is about to be bought by billionaire investor Prince Al Walid bin Talal. Al Hilal are currently majority owned by the Saudi PIF, as are a couple of clubs in the Saudi Pro League. But this takeover, which would value the club at 2 billion Saudi riyals, which is around 400 million pounds, would see one of Saudi Arabia's biggest clubs being privately owned for the first time. So if they go under different ownership, maybe they don't want Bruno Fernandes, right? It was a Saudi PIF target. Now that could mean he could link up with Cristiano Ronaldo at Al Nassr instead, right? They're one of the Saudi PIF teams. So just because it's not Al Hilal, it could be somebody else. But the it's a difficult one, isn't it? We kind of spoke about this on the phone yesterday, didn't we, when it was coming out? And really, I'm going to be honest, Flex, yeah. I do think, like you said, shout out William Shakespeare, it is much ado about nothing, because I'm not sure that a lot of new information was presented by Bruno Fernandes in this interview. I just think for whatever reason, maybe people hadn't seen the previous sort of interviews before, or maybe people hadn't seen the previous what had been put out there, because in a lot of the journos actually yesterday, the domestic journos came out and basically said the same thing, which is, well, this is what he told us in the summer, which is there was an offer on the table. It was a lot of money. I spoke with Manchester United. Manchester United said, ideally, we want you to stay. We're happy for you to stay. If you want to leave, you can leave. And full disclosure, it's a lot of money. So if you do decide to go, we won't stand in your way because, one, we want to respect you. And two, it's a lot of money. So, of course, we would accept that offer. And I think his point of contention is he would rather United sort of say to him, basically, no, you have to stay. We need you here. You have to be here. And you're integral to this whole project. Please, please, please stay. And United were really just sort of honest with him. And he's actually saying that they weren't being honest with him because he thinks that they actually wanted him to accept that. They weren't being forceful enough. So it's a bit like, I don't know. I don't know. What does so effectively what is that he wants Man United to go and sort of fight for him, basically, and fight them all off. But at the end of the day, surely even Bruno knows. I know you're the Man United captain, but everybody's got a price.
I think, look, and I did it yesterday, and I did it to even more depth just now. What's a bit weird to me is that, again, I'll pull up the quotes again. This is even in more depth from June, right? About what he said about this when it was ahead of, he told reporters ahead of Portugal's Nations League semi-final with Germany. Okay, so this was in June. I spoke to Coach Amorim and he asked me not to go. My wife asked me what I wanted to do. It would have been easy to move there, as I know the Portuguese players there very well, but I want to play at the highest level and compete for major titles. Fernandez echoed what Amrin had suggested days earlier, claiming that United don't need the money enough to sell him this summer, because Amrin was basically saying that. Then Bruno said this. He said this with his own words, his own mouth. Manchester United didn't want to sell me. They don't need the money, he added. If I had wanted to leave, they would have made it happen. So you can't say that in June. Manchester, he said this himself. No one said it for him.
But I think they wanted to let me go now.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's basically, it's two things. One, it's a business thing of like, if you do want to go for that type of money, we're definitely not going to say X. Yeah. Secondly, you've done so much for us. You're the captain. We don't want you to go, but it's your decision. We're not going to stand in the way. You've done enough for this club to be able to be like, you know what? I want to go there. Make it happen for me. You know what, Bruno? We're not going to stand in your way. You've played for us in our worst ever period, one of in our existence. You know, you've been a great servant. No controversy. You've always turned up on time. You know, all those stuff where you're a model pro, model student. You know what I mean? They'll just let you go. So he's trying to. The only thing I don't like about this is that it seems like he's trying to. And this doesn't mean you need to hate Bruno, because then people turn into that. No, you're just letting any off the hook because they didn't have the balls. They're never going to let me. They're never going to make me turn on my captain. Don't need to turn on him. But let's just call out what it is. You said one thing, bro, in the summer, and you're saying something contradictory now. You're saying like they didn't have the balls to tell you to leave, but in the summer, in print, not making it up, not hearsay, not interpretation, not I think he means this. You literally said, it says, Manchester United didn't want to sell me. They don't need the money.
And also, I think, and like I said, it's not even a it's a Bruno slander thing, because since Bruno has come in 2020, he has been our best player. He has been our most consistent player, whether you like him or not, whether you think he's a net negative or whatever it may be. Yeah, he has done a lot for the club in terms of putting numbers on the board. He's been our best player through good times and through bad times. Last season, I know 15th, and he was the captain, so he was captain the side 15th. But he's been our best player for 5-6 years. So I kind of look at it as what does Bruno actually kind of want? You know what I mean? Because I think from my thing is I kind of look at it like actually United actually handled that situation probably as best as and as delicately as they could, and basically went, look, out of respect for you, we're not going to do, we're accepting it, shove you out the door. We're not even going to do the reject, you have no say in the matter. We're saying it's up to you. Like, it's up to you. What
is your decision? This is life-changing amounts.
Yeah. What do you want to do? We're not going to stand in your way regardless of whatever decision. If you want to stay, we aren't going to hold it against you and be like, oh, fuck you. We could have had 100 million in our bank and we could have reshaped the score. We're not going to do that because we want you to stay. If you want to go, we'll accept the offer. It's a great offer for us. So that works for us as well. Either works for us. Either works. So it's up to you. We're giving you autonomy in this. We're not pressuring you to make any decision. Totally up to you. What works for you, what works for your family. And now the pushback is, like you said, in the summer, it's actually they wanted me to stay, and they wanted me to, and they didn't need the money, and I did what's best for my family. Now it's I actually don't believe that they were telling me the truth of that, or they were, they wanted to accept it. I don't know. I just, you can get really, really skeptical and callous about it, can't you? And go, oh, does he see the writing on the wall? Does he see that? Look, we're probably going to be buying a brand new midfield next summer, not just 1, 2 midfielders. Are the feelers being put out there now of like, Saudi, if you are still interested, I might be available this summer. And by the way, there's that, the report came out, but there's that release clause to certain European clubs that's going to be coming up fairly soon. If you're interested, Bayern or Real Madrid or Barcelona or anything like that, table. It does feel like they say sometimes a bit of a soft launch, a bit of a soft launch, put things out there a little bit. I don't know.
I do think he's look, and on the flip side of me saying, he said one thing, then said the other thing. That's the only thing that's different. You know, when I agree with you, you know, when it's like, well, he hasn't really said anything that's different. The only thing that's different, I would say, is that where you go, that's interesting. And this time he spoke about players, whether it's players that got forced out that aren't here anymore or ones that are in the current dressing room, who knows, but about players who don't fight for the badge as much as him or honor the badge or whatever, the paraphrasing. But basically, I think what we have to remember is, though, and some people might not like it, this is in a bit of defense of Bruno, players at this type of age, that type of impact, who got like one big move left in them and they carry a lot of weight, they do sort of just talk about the steps that will come after this. Not that immediately now, but like when they do interviews like this, so he's sitting down with the national team guys, speaking in Portuguese, chilling, kind of barbershop vibes, just whatever, think to talk about his life, what his plans are for the future. They do kind of do that kind of stuff. Yeah, you know, maybe when I'm 33, 34, wouldn't mind going to Italy, or, you know, look at Modric playing there and he's fucking 40 odd. Like, you know, I wouldn't mind going back there, maybe fight for the Italian title. Wouldn't mind going back to Portugal. You know, my kids love it there. You know, I thought about different things. I've thought about life after Man United. Now, you can flip that and say, that's not helpful. We need people who are 100% committed to. But I think where Bruno will escape that criticism is it's that cliche in it. Like a manager who says, if you're winning, no one cares. Now, we're not winning, but he's doing Bruno things still. He's not dropped to the bench. He's not getting no minutes. He ain't got a problem with the manager. Obviously, we know that. Like, he hasn't got a bad rapport with the fans. He's still doing Bruno stuff. So it's like he's doing what he's always done, which is put numbers on the board. So it's not like he's fell off and now he's talking about leaving. He's just talking about life after Man United or his next steps. And I think soft launch is a really good term. Just getting us familiar with the notion of like what it looks like without him. We've come close already. Remember, I was in the mix zone where we asked him one question and he just dropped, could have went last year. That was before that. This is before that. This is before the Saudi thing. And he mentioned that when he said, I could have gone to a European club, won't say where, would have won a lot of trophies. Probably Real Madrid, probably Barcelona, Bayern Munich. I think they're probably two. You know what I mean? So that was that. And then this. So he's dropped these little things. He didn't have to do it that day as well. That was proper unprovoked. I remember all of us going, what the fuck? He just basically spoke about he was nearly out in the summer. That's so weird. So he's dropping these little things in to just, I think, be in control of his own narrative. And players got a voice, got power.
Which is wild because he was.
There ain't really a narrative.
He could have done whatever he wanted in the summer. And also, like, let's not be naive here, right? We live in a day, and like, these footballers, they're not dumb, they're not stupid. They're not just talking freely to journalists and thinking it's not going to get out or it's not going to become a story. Bruno Fernandes, all of these players, you know, Mo Salah did the same thing last season and this season. When they say these things, they know they're going to get picked up. They know that people are going to talk about them. So I did see this yesterday from a couple of journalists, and I think it's probably true, is that it's probably just, like you said, an enhancement of what he said in the summer. In the summer, he said it in English to English media. Maybe he goes a bit more in depth with it because it's, you know, his native tongue with Portuguese media. And it's basically the same kind of ish story, but to another level. But it's going to get picked up. People are going to talk about it. So he's the Manchester United captain. And I do think there is with that a level of responsibility that comes with it, of, you know, about, even if it was a couple of weeks ago and it was arranged by the Portuguese national team or whatever, that's still really no excuse to be coming out and be like, oh, I don't know if the club actually wanted me. And, oh, I don't know about that. You've got to be careful. You know what I mean? You've got to be really, really careful with stuff like that. And at a time,
throwing the club under the bus a bit.
At a time where, again, I know this has happened before these incidents, but at a time where there appears to be very much a problem with the discipline of players going to the media or doing things outside of the club realm, whether it's academy players, whether it's, you know, people's families. And obviously we had the stuff with Garnacho and with Rashford and all this kind of stuff. You're meant to be setting an example when it comes to that. And it's an interview, but you still, regardless of how you, what language it's in or with what media it's with, if it's going to go on the record and it's going to go out there, you have to be careful what you say. Everyone does. Ruben Amorim does. Ruben Amorim, when he says stupid shit, Like, all stuff happens in press conferences and he gets picked up on it and he gets scrutinized for it because you're the Manchester United manager. Bruno Fernandes, you're the Manchester United captain. So if I was people within the club at the moment, they've put out, now it feels a bit like a back and forth and battle because you've got Bruno coming out. You've got Bruno coming out going, I could have left in the summer and maybe the club did want to sell me, but they didn't tell that, blah, blah, blah. Straight away, what do Man United go? He's not for sale next summer, blah, blah, blah. And you sort of go, well, now it feels a bit like Man United panic because they could feel his price going down as that news was coming out. His price coming down. No, he's not for sale. He's not for sale.
Yeah.
He kind of is,
but he's open to leaving.
That around that 100 million mark. I know we might not get that again, but you're still 80 or at 70. So let's not go down that much, And and it's always around this time of the year, isn't it? I was thinking this. As soon as we start getting into December or heading into January. It was like it last summer with obviously with Rashford and Garnacho and the January transfer window that came there. We just get to like a week or so, a couple of weeks before the new year, and now we got the Cobby stuff really heating up, and obviously this Bruno story now comes out. It's just it's always something, isn't it? It's always something. Like you said last night on the Flex and KG show, it's drama FC, and And as far as I want to stay as long as I feel desired, well, then you're probably going to go, Bruno. Let's be honest, then.
Yeah.
Because I've already said, like, if we get a good offer for anyone, that there is no player, unless they've literally just come in the last transfer window, that an offer could come in for. If it was good enough, then
remember when we were happy about that.
Anyone?
Remember when it was like everyone's got their price, and we were like, Bruno, you know what? If we can rebuild the team, because that's the only thing I was pushing back to. Is I wanted to see how the discourse was with the first wave of Bruno comments. I mean, you sent it to me back probably a little bit later than this time yesterday. I wanted to see what was going on because a lot of conversations in the summer when we knew this Al Hilal thing was real before Bruno even came out to address it, it was ramping up. That's why he came out and addressed it so strongly because he had to, right? Everyone was going, let's just talk about this though. Are we comfortable turning down in excess of 100 million for players that, like, as amazing as Bruno is, what does our team look like if we can have that money to rebuild the squad? And we was all part of the conversations because it was healthy at the time because we had to discuss it because it was a possibility. And a lot of people going, listen, sell him. Make sure you sell him. We don't have anyone in our squad that can get that type of money. It's for the great. Basically, Bruno can be the sacrificial lamb. He can be the one to, sell me. And then you can reinvest that into the squad. That's why it would have been attractive to Man United to do it. You could have ended up with Baleba plus someone else with extra money on top or whatever it is. And looking back, some people may say, you know what? That probably would have been awful because we've dodged the bullet. Bruno's still doing Bruno things. Meanwhile, Baleba's obviously struggling. We'll talk a little bit about some of his quotes this morning. But the team's always going to look different when Bruno leaves. So when he leaves, unless we manage to stumble upon the next magical player who can provide these type of moments at this consistent rate, we're not going to find somebody who has magic in his boots like Bruno. We're not going to find somebody who impacts the team with these moments like what Bruno does on a consistent level. But it doesn't mean that we'll be a bad team. You build a new type of team. You know what I mean? A different functional team.
What you need to be careful about, Show says here, what's worse, the way Bruno spoke in that interview or the way Amram spoke about the youth players? So why is this getting more traction? I don't think you have to compare it and go, well, this one's worse than that one. This one's worse than that. They're all, like I said, I think everyone has to pick their words carefully. And also, let's not pretend that the Amram quotes about youth team didn't get traction because they definitely did. They definitely did. You know what I mean? So that's where we've got to be careful with agendas either way. Everything that any person says that is affiliated with Manchester United gets picked up. Obviously, depending on your position and who you are, it will get picked up more than others. Bruno Fernandes is the Manchester United captain. If he's talking about potentially leaving, it's going to get picked up. Ruben Amorim's in a press conference. Geez Louise, like the morning of that game, Monday, all people could talk about was what Ruben Amorim had said about the young players, so much so that the youth players came out and Harry Amass posted it on his Instagram story, and so did Cheeto. So we don't have to be careful with we can't do the whataboutism. Like everything anyone says is going to get picked up. That's why those people in those positions of authority or in those more senior positions, like Amram, like Bruno, they have to be careful of what they say, you know. And I don't know why they have to constantly keep learning that. Like, how could it be a shock? You know, this is Manchester United. You can literally do nothing, zero, and say nothing and get criticized for that, let alone when you come out and go like, well, the club didn't need to sell me. They didn't want to sell me. I think they actually did want to sell me. I think they did actually, want to do that. They're going to get picked up. Ruben Amorim, if he then sort of, says, "Oh, Harry Mash struggling in the Championship," whether that's what he meant or not, how he meant it, it's going to get picked up. You know, when he says, "Oh, you guys might think about Cobby one way, I think of him another way," it's going to get picked up. You know, so you've got to, choose your words carefully. And I just find it's just crazy how basically every generation of Man United players learns this. You know, you would think someone at some point would kind of learn their lesson when it comes to it, but they don't. Unfortunately.
No, exactly. I agree. Let's get to what people are saying in the chat and the members chat. Challenwood comments says, very disappointing. This was not necessary from our club captain to come out and talk about other clubs as captain is quite outrageous, to be honest. It affects different people different ways. All Elite says he is the captain of this club. Not okay. Why now? People really ain't happy about this, which, again, that's what we was talking about the part of, like, you don't need to say this now and you're saying something contradictory to the summer. So, like what you said, what do you want from this? Voldemort says, release clause. I'm loyal to a point. Let a Bayern Madrid trigger that clause and we will see how loyal. Saudi just felt like retirement. That's all. Yeah, it wasn't the right. But he said he had the chance to go to somewhere big in Europe the year before that one as well and didn't go. Yeah, I mean, Ray Carl Brown says, I'm good with Bruno Fernandes' interview. He will be one of few players that can hold his head high when he does leave. Bruno's still doing it for us, and he will do until he goes. And you see, this is the difference, isn't it? There's so many. You got people that are saying out of order. Like, KG was fuming yesterday. He was like, these players just keep talking, Bruno included. Obviously, we all agreed on everything with Kobbie Mainoo's brother. It's just like, shut the hell up. You lot ain't good. Go and win football matches. Why do you not keep talking? Everyone's like, preach, KG, it's so true. And this is it. Like, I see that. Like, it's true. He doesn't need to do this in November. He didn't need to do this. You don't.
And also, Flex, this is, again, when you're the captain, he now can't, imagine he goes to Kobbie Mainoo and goes, Kobbie, you can't have your brother doing that. You know what I mean? You've got to, you've got to get your family in check and they can't be doing that kind of stuff. They could turn around and be like, mate, you're sitting down with Portuguese media talking about whether you're going to leave or not and this, that, and the other. Like, you have to lead by example on and off the pitch, That's what the job of a captain is, isn't it? So that's the problem.
Well, like Minna says there.
I'm not. You know what?
I'm not outraged.
I'm not outraged. To be honest, I'll be completely
It's just
honest.
the timing because after the Kobbie thing.
I was more pissed off with the Kobbie thing. And do you know why? I just, maybe it's because it was a match day and it was just coming off a 4-4. And there's something about the being in Old Trafford, in our house, you know what I mean? That much of a statement of like a slap in the face of like, that much of a stunt. I was like, that's fucking outrageous. But also I do look at that. And like I said, if I'm senior people within Manchester United, I'm taking Bruno to one side going, I know that was 2 weeks ago, but why would you say that? Like, again, if you want to leave, tell us. We'll sort it out. Get to the end of the season. You don't need to soft launch it. It does feel like maybe with like how the Rashford thing happened and with the Garnacho thing happened or whatever, like Ruben said it in his press conference when he was like, oh, has Kobbie come to spoken to you about this? No. Like, there are like the players' camps and then the Manchester United camp. And they don't really talk to each other, but they go at each other in the media through basically PR stories, effectively. You know what I mean? A bit like with Rashford last year. Man United putting out there that, he's for sale and this, that, and the other. And then, Rashford will do interviews or Rashford's people will put out stories there. And then when they have these interviews with like Ruben or Rashford, they go, have you spoken to each other? They'll go, no, we haven't really spoken about anything. So, but they go at each other through the media as opposed to just talking like this. And these, like, it's like this weird PR war. And Kobbie's in it now. Camp Kobbie versus Man United. Bruno, like I said, soft launch, Camp Bruno versus Camp Man United. And it's just, and from a fan's perspective, it is tiring, isn't it? Because you're just like, well, find a resolution. I don't care. Stop putting out the stories either way. Stop doing the interviews, especially when you're not winning as well. It's like, you know, and you're seeing sort of shitty performances. You're like, fucking hell, just put more energy into winning football matches as opposed to which brief is better than the other, basically.
100%. I agree.
It's like a bad laundromat. Yeah, it's all briefs.
Yeah.
That's all it is. All briefs.
It's all briefs. It's all briefs. But yeah, I wasn't outraged. I think the timing straight after the Jordan Maynoo thing and just our club again. Now the captain, it carries so much weight. Why? But like I said, 98% of what he said already. We knew it. It's not new information. It's just a little discrepancy of you did say that and now you're saying this. Doesn't make sense. So a bit of both.
If we weren't so used to it, I think we'd probably be more outraged. It's the fact that
100%.
We're so scarred when it comes to players coming out and saying things in the media and interviewed. Like it kind of bounces off us a little bit now. Like when Mo Salah did it at Liverpool the other week, that was so atypical for Liverpool. They were like, "This is unbelievable. This is outrageous." Whereas with us, it was like that meme, isn't it? Like we're looking at them going, "First time. We have this every week, mate." You know. So when our captain does come out and say this, we're like, "Yeah." We just had a guy's family member with a shirt saying "free him" on the side of the pitch the other day. Like, you know, we had it all last season with a couple of academy players who've had it in the past. Like, you know, we're used to it at this point. I suppose maybe we should be more outraged, but we're so calloused at this point that we're just like, oh, okay, bounces off us. Exactly.
There you go. Right. We need to talk about something maybe a little bit more positive. Well, if we get him, maybe it won't be positive. Antoine Semenyo, we know who he is.
He's a really special player, Flex. He's
a really special player.
He's a really special player, and we might be in for him.
Scored against us again.
This kind of came out. Well, I say came out of nowhere. We've always been linked, of course. In the summer, we were linked with him, but it did feel like, didn't it, that City were leading the race, maybe Tottenham, maybe Liverpool, and we were having those discussions, weren't we? Of what would he even come in for? Can you convince him to come as a left wing back? What's even going on here? Well, Sky Sports yesterday from Rob Dorset and what's the other guy's name? Lyle something.
I can't remember his last name, but yeah, something Lyle. Or
Lyle. Said that Man United and Manchester City are firmly in the race to sign Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth. City are keeping tabs on the developments of the 25-year-old.
Lyle Thomas.
I thought I was going to say Lyle Thomas, but I was getting confused with Simon Thomas that does that does the he's a Spurs guy, isn't he? Lyle Thomas. He does a lot of Spurs stuff, I think.
No, that's Michael Bridge.
It's Michael Bridge. Who's Lyle Thomas then?
He's just a senior editor. Like he just does a bit of everything. Yeah, he does everything.
So anyway, yes, City and Spurs, they're in the race. But United are considered serious rivals for both City and Spurs. Liverpool are believed to be in the background. So maybe we're ahead of Liverpool in this one. United have not been actively looking to sign another forward in January, but believe the opportunity to sign Semenyo, which will come next month for a set price, is something they must genuinely consider. So this is basically very similar to the Carlos Baleba thing last summer, which is financially they're having these talks of going, can we even pull this off? Is this going to take away from the summer? But a bit like Carlos Baleba last summer, where they go, but it's an opportunity. Actually, you know, it's an opportunity, and we basically can't afford to not be involved in that opportunity, considering we wanted to get him last summer anyway, and we know what it would take to get him now. And ideally, we'd wait until the summer, but other clubs are going to come in and get him, so he's probably going to go in January. So we've got to be there. If we can't afford to wait, basically, we're going to have to make it work if we go and get him. So that's encouraging. Whether or not it still happens, I still do kind of worry a bit about, you know, Spurs being a rival. I don't see him going to Spurs, to be honest. That would be quite surprising.
No, I don't see him going to Spurs. I think City, obviously,
City,
says their family.
It'd be a tough one. But, you know, Ruben's doing his kind of charm offensive, calling him a special player, you know, and wanted him in the summer. Where he would fit into the team, I don't know. You know, how quickly they could do that deal, maybe to offset some of the issues with AFCON, and he's, you know, replaces Mbeumo for a couple of games. I don't know. I don't know how that one would necessarily work out. Do they agree something with Bournemouth? A bit like, you know, they've done with clubs in the past where they go, we know he's available for 65. What if we did give you 67? You know what I mean? We'll go over it, and you can have a little bit more. Yeah,
well, Miguel Delaney, I think he's at the Telegraph, isn't he? Miguel Delaney. So
he's independent.
Sorry, independent. But he did a bit saying Man United are willing to move for Antoine Semenyo if rival clubs try to sign him in January. United feel they have a strong chance. Goes on to talk about Ruben Amorim and United's football hierarchy, especially admires Semenyo's tactical versatility, which they see as being especially valuable to Amorim's demands. While the player would be used as a forward, United have a vision of playing him as an attacking wing-back with Ahmad on the other side. Semenyo is open to such moves, so he went a little bit stronger. But, I mean, look, as soon as the Semenyo thing started becoming apparent, because was it Ornstein who said about the release clause kicking in?
Yeah.
It was that. Since then, you know, we said it. We said, well, yeah, I mean, we've just seen one convert from with Ahmad. So when people were like, yeah, what? I'm convinced him to play left wing-back for this dead system. Is like, it could happen, man. I'm not saying it definitely will, but like, he's versatile enough to do it. He's quick enough, powerful enough, good enough to do it. Possesses all the right. If anything, if you're looking for somebody to make that conversion, those are the type of ingredients you need to bake that cake. Powerful, fast, good on both feet, good attacker. Obviously, you need to learn the side of the game when you don't have the ball, when you're a little bit deeper.
I'm not sure it does anything for our defensive issues. I don't think we suddenly concede less goals because Antoine Semenyo comes in.
But I think that's
no,
that's not no. But we won't do that.
Maybe we put away some more of our chances. Maybe,
yeah.
You know?
But he wants the wing backs to look like forwards anyway. That converts into it.
Yeah.
But then the free centre backs that you get when we start really investing into that will look different. You know what I mean?
If you're dominating the game, there's less emphasis on their defensive work, perhaps, maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the kind of the mindset.
They're all up to the task, not like one with some maybe younger ones that ain't, and then the one that's aging and one that's injury prone. And you got to go out. That's why they'll be talking about getting centre backs as well. You got to go and get
also
the creme guys.
Yeah, that's a sign where you're buying the player for the club as opposed for the manager as well.
Let's say if got sacked tomorrow, it'll be fine.
You know, someone comes in, plays 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 4-4-2. That you can fit in a multitude of different systems.
You can play on the left, you can play on the right, you can play right wing back if Ahmad weren't there, you can play left wing back. You know, for art, you can play the 2-10s. It's all right. It's all right for us. Left wing, right wing, left 10, right 10, left wing back, right wing back. You could play all of those. So that's very fair. If we had him, we wouldn't be mad. The only thing is, remember when I was talking about the order of ceremonies? Like, we might get things in different orders where we all know the midfield is crying out. Like, it needs surgery. Bad. It needs big surgery. But we can't really be doing that until the summer. So, I don't know. But if there's an opportunity now, which means you change the order of ceremonies, then you get Semenyo now, innit?
Maybe that's where, you know, they do sell a player like a Bruno and maybe like a Kobe and Casemiro goes. Maybe they sell like 3 midfielders in the summer or get rid of 3 midfielders to bring in a couple in. Because what I will say, Flex, just very quickly on this Kobe Maynoo stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that it has now been over 24 hours and Kobe Maynoo has said 0 about any of this kind of stuff is quite alarming. You know what I mean? If he was really aghast at what happened or what was said, what was done, you know, you would think very quickly they would come out, he would come out, there'd be some kind of Instagram story, Instagram post, thing
maybe posted him in a Man United top or something.
Something, even a statement, a picture, whatever.
You think?
The silence,
but don't you think it's best to say? Do you think the silence is alarming?
The silence is quite.
I don't know. I was thinking about this of what. Okay, so I was thinking about this, right? Because there's obviously 2 ways to solve the conflict, which is apologize, say it, this, that, and the other.
Are we necessarily apologize?
Or just post something, that would give people more to talk about. How do we not know? I don't think. I'm in the middle again. I'm not really alarmed because he's not really someone that talks a lot anyway and makes statements. He does post up, the Kobe thing, the old school picture when he's happy, he posts up in training, and I just don't think. There's been a lot of noise about it. If he posts something again, everyone starts re-talking about it. Is it best to just let this wave be, get your head down, don't say anything, talk about it internally, which is what always should have happened. Your brothers just changed that. And you just get to Villa, start the game and play football, mate. Don't post, don't say this, don't say that. And I think, you know what? Amorim needs to do the same thing as well in the presser. He's going to get asked about it, obviously. And other clubs do it. KG made a good point the other day. Other clubs do it all the time. Like, look at Arne Slot with the way they do it. They just brought Salah back kind of next. I was like, he can never play for him again. You know, he's never going to say. He needs to say sorry, otherwise he can't. Just come back against Brighton. Came on 20 minutes, got an assist. Now he's gone to AFCON. Come back. Could probably get to the end of the season. It just makes things go away. Football can move very quickly. Sometimes if you say nothing. So I think he's probably done the right thing to say nothing.
Maybe the best way to handle it then isn't necessarily the silence.
Because he doesn't have to apologize for anything.
Whatever the next communication is, that is critical. Not necessarily
with
from
Amrin?
him then. Yeah, whoever, because someone is going to get asked about it, aren't they? So whatever, like the next press
in the press, or you mean? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. This is Amrim's got to handle this right.
The next communication is critical, absolutely critical. And maybe you're right, whereby they have had the words of Cobby, and they've just gone, look, don't say anything. Ruben's going to address it in the next press conference, and then it's done.
Then we can make it go away.
I suppose maybe there's the situation of, if Cobby came out and addressed it and said anything, even if it was an apology, Ruben would still get asked about it in the press conference. So he's going to get asked anyway.
And like you said yesterday, when you go on social media and try to repaint them out, it's going to make it worse. They're going to say, right. Like what's he going to say? And let's be honest, even though his brother's done an idiot move, it's your family, innit? Let's be honest. It is. Your brother's done a dickhead move. You don't want to go out and say, I don't know why my brother did that. I'm really sorry he did it. You're not going to throw your brother under the bus, even if it's just brotherly love. Even if he's done something wrong, you then don't out your brother in public. You just don't. You cuss him behind the scenes. You meet, you talk, you fight, but you don't go on your social media with however many million followers as Cobby Maynoo when you don't really speak and go, just want to say, I don't stand for what my brother did. You don't do that. You don't throw your family under the bus, even if they've done something wrong. You just don't. So
no, I'm not expecting him to come out and disavow his brother or anything like that. I've never speak to him. I've seen.
But by saying it,
this is the other thing. This is the other thing of it. Yeah, as well. He wouldn't be disavowing his brother by saying I'm sorry.
No, but if he comes out, But if he does something that pushes back against his brother in public, I know it's not the worst diss you can have to your brother in age ever, but it's still like, I'm not rocking with my brother on that. But you're just supposed to. It's like that thing of I can fight my brother, but against everyone else, we keep it. But don't do that.
But what I will say with this, is this is where I think people are taking it too extreme in either direction, because I do think there is this defense of Cobby so much that Cobby's got zero to do with that. Like people have
no, we don't know that.
People have distanced him from his brother like he doesn't have a relationship with him. He's got nothing to do with his brother.
Yeah, that's not true.
They are very close.
I've seen him. He was in LA with them.
They're family members. They are very close. Now, granted, he's not his brother's keeper, so it's entirely possible his brother could have just done that out of his own volition. Cobby had zero to do with it, didn't know about it, was blindsided by it, and now he's like, "Oh, mate, you've put me in a really difficult position. I've been told not to speak about it. Cool, no problem." But also, we can't rule out the possibility of they're that close. He might have known something's bubbling in the background. Whether he co-signed it or not, I don't know. So this is when, like I said, the next communication, most likely from Amorim in that presser, is so critical. So critical.
And how critical? What title is it? Got shoot, but it's so critical that he basically. Listen,
I'm telling you, Super Arch, they are close. So let's not pretend that they're not. Let's not do the whole.
Yeah, no, those two are close.
They are close.
Those two are close.
Let's not. That's my pushback of people going, "Hey, Cobby's got zero affiliation with that guy at all. He's he's this estranged family member."
Yeah, he's not that.
It's not.
I know for a fact. I've been there. We were there. We spent. You guys saw the video we did when we went to LA.
It's not that.
His brother was there. His cousins were they're tight. Okay, let's not do that. There was a holiday with Lenny Yoro in the summer before that, having a great time. They're tight. But Amorim definitely, he needs to go. Listen, I just want to prepare the team for the next game. Cobby played really well coming off the bench. There's always things that go on. Outside of this club, it's the biggest club in the world. There's loads of eyes on it. But I'm just focused on the team. I'm preparing the team for the next game. And Villa, they haven't lost in ages. It's a really, really tough game. I was really pleased with Cobby's performance. Off the bench. And if they push, but do you see why his brother said that? Do you see why listen, I've said many times before, Cobby's a good player, and just like all the players, they've got to work hard and just do that. Don't do I don't know why his idiot brothers, just don't do it. He needs to pour cold water on it.
Exactly. It's the thing of, like I said, it's not his brother's keeper, but it would you can't be naive enough to suggest that it doesn't indicate that they're that close. Clearly, whilst he might not have told him to do it, might not even have known he's done it, it at the very least suggests some behind the scenes issues whereby they're having conversations where you're like, this is
100%.
fucking bullshit. I hate the way this is going on at United. Do you know what I mean? So even that at a minimum. So that is when you have to, again, I think we have to not be naive here and be like, this has got nothing to do with Cobby at all. Absolutely.
No, you can't.
To do with him or whatever.
Because he is
might not be his
frustrated
fault
to leave.
or anything like that. But also, again, it's critical now how this is handled post this. You know what I mean? That's how it's going to go. Like you said, he's not going to come out and say his brother's a shit or anything like that. No. And he might, but at the same time, he's not going to say, "Oh yeah, I told him to do it." No, but they are close, and whether you like it or not, you know, if you're a Man United player and your family is at the game because of you, you do have a level of responsibility of how they behave.
100%.
It's you know what I mean. It's like anyone, isn't it? If I go to a game with my dad, right, and my dad, you know, does something mental, people are going to look at me and go, "Did you not handle that situation better?" Yeah, you know what I mean. It's going to be there's an element of, you know, responsibility that comes with it.
Or Ruben can, you know, say, I've had a chat with Cobby privately.
Yeah, it's sorted.
And it stays here. Still,
and also, we've reminded all of the other players of their family's responsibilities when they attend a football match. You know,
there you go. There's loads of ways to skin a cat, as they say. He just needs to pick the right one. Don't come with emotion and gas it up like you was talking about pouring gasoline on the fire that doesn't need. That's what his brother did. So we've got the opportunity to not do that. Don't carry this on. Nip it in the bud. Otherwise, you're just giving the people who made the t-shirts more. You're just amplifying it more. Cobby did right. Keep quiet. Don't entertain it. Says Super Arch. I said that. So Ryan says, get off the Cobby thing, Owen. Sue Jordan if you're that pressed by it. I'm sure it's in his fan contract. Cobby didn't wear a t-shirt. Right. And Super Art says resolve internally, nothing else to be said. Get off the Cobby thing, Owen. Stop talking about it. You're doing too much.
Wow, I mean, if anyone sounds pressed by it, it's probably Sir Ryan, isn't it? Jeez Louise.
Yeah,
I didn't realise Sir Ryan
Maynoo. This is why, and this is why Ruben needs to just get the Cobby and just pour it on there.
Yeah.
Guys, big up, big show. Big up to each and every single one of you. We will see you very, very soon. Have a good day. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, there's no more controversies throughout the day. We can just be normal and be chilled.
One normal day, please, because we've got Villa next. So people ain't remembering that. This is a very, very difficult game. We're out of here, guys. Bless up. We're gone. Peace.